Hey, how's it going? Just got done mowing the yard again. And, as I was saying about in the last video, I just got done mowing the yard then, so it's been a little over a week since then. But at least this time I did not cut my leg with the weed eater. I cut my hand. I'm really good for that. Minor injuries. I scraped it when I was trying to get around a satellite dish and caught it on the edge of the satellite. Those things are kind of sharp. Anyway, like I said, sometimes can't win for losing. So I got a new injury, and but at least the yard's mowed now, so it's looking better. And I can't believe how fast that grass grew. I mean, within like 5-6 days, it needed cut again. But first day off work in a few days, so I was out doing it today. It's a great use of days off, but you got to do it. So anyway, getting a new boss at work, which awesome. I really liked their old manager, but the stress just got way too much for her, and she kind of had a breakdown at work a few days ago. So I can understand. She wants to take a bit of a break, so she's going to step down from management for a while and just work as a cashier, and that way she doesn't have to worry about all the responsibilities and pressure that comes with being a manager, all the paperwork and handling employees and stuff. But like I said, I can kind of understand. Of course, I was talking with another store manager earlier today, and it did occur to me that since I've started working where I'm at, I have outlasted now 5 managers. I started out at one store. Now the manager of that store is still there, but I started there and then they moved me. And the manager at that store had to step down. Moved to another store. The manager there stepped down because of some medical issues. So that's 4 with the new manager that came in. And then she stepped down because of some health reason with the stress and stuff. So now I will be on my 5th manager, my 3rd regional manager. So all I can say is, yay longevity. I've been here almost 2 years and I've gone through 5 managers and 3 regionals. So, yeah, I'm on my 3rd regional manager. So it's awesome. I've been wanting to move up. I've been talking about moving up, and I know in my last video and I made some comments about being promoted over. But seeing what's been happening with the higher ups, I'm not too sure if I want to do that or not. I mean, if that's the kind of stress and pressure that you have to go through to be a manager, I don't know if I want to deal with that. I mean, I'm sure I could, and I've had better than 20 years experience off and on in this kind of business, being a cashier at a convenience store. And I've been in management positions a number of times throughout the years. So I'm sure I could do the job. I know I could do the job. But I don't know if I want to deal with the pressure at this age. So it's kind of a give or take thing where I'd like the job with the better pay, but I don't know if I want to deal with the stress that also comes with it. And we're on salary, the higher level management. So you only get so much money for doing the job. And you're supposed to work 50 hours a week minimum for what you're getting paid. Now there are bonuses and stuff involved when you hit certain goals on things. but and the manager can make quite a bit. I had one manager show me made something like almost $1,200 in bonuses for a quarter. So that was like, according to this person, a paycheck and a half, just in bonuses. So I mean, that would be nice. But I don't know if I'd really want to deal with all the hassle that goes with it. Now, I've talked a little bit in a couple other videos about some of the people I worked with, and I've discussed a little bit about the kind of job that this is, but I haven't really gone into depth. So I think I'll take the rest of this and just kind of talk a little bit about these kind of jobs. First, when you work in convenience stores or gas stations, you have to rely on your coworkers to be there and be responsible and show up for work. Now, in places like a factory, if one person gets sick, there are a lot of other people at the factory, so the job can be covered. At convenience stores, if one person doesn't come into work, it can mess it up for almost everybody else. Now, I said can. It's definitely going to mess it up for one person, but it can mess it up potentially for everybody else that works there. And this is how. At factories, you've got... Sorry, I thought I heard my phone. At factories, you've got a bunch of people that are working there. So if you've got 6 people on a line and one person calls in sick or doesn't show up, there are still 5 other people there who can kind of cover it. Now, if you lose a lot of people for whatever reason, that might mess it up for others, because then you may have to work longer hours, or they may have to schedule people to come in early. But if it's just somebody calling in sick or taking a day off, not as hard to cover. At a convenience store, if that one person calls in, you don't have 4 or 5 other or 10 other people there to cover it. If that person calls in, you have to cover it with somebody else. So if somebody has a day off, they may come in and cover it. If not, somebody there's got to cover it. So, but there's going to be at least one person getting extra hours, possibly a couple of people that have to pull a longer shift to cover it. I've done it a number of times, and I recall one time at the first place I ever worked at, we had, I was working second, the third shifter called in. So I worked second and then I worked third, so I pulled a double. I was there, supposed to get out at 7, I was there until about 9:30, waiting for the first shifter to come in. So not only did I pull a double, but I ended up with a 10-hour shift plus the 8 hours, so 18 hours before I got out of there. Went home, got something to eat, went to lay down about 11 o'clock, and my manager called me and said, hey, can you come back in? The first shifter just left because she got sick. And that's why because she wasn't feeling well, is why she was running late that morning. So I go back in at like 12, work until 11 o'clock that night because I had second shift. And the third shifter still was sick. So I ended up pulling another double. Now, at least the first shifter was feeling better and came in. And I did get a couple of days off after that, which was okay. But I had went for almost 48 hours without sleep and worked something like 40 of those hours. So it can be extremely difficult. One person calls in. If you get 2 people that call in, you're hosed. So that's one of the issues with working in this kind of job, is when one person is out of work for whatever reason, it does mess up the other people working there. And somebody's got to cover that shift. And there have been a couple of times where usually during the day you have 2 people working. So there has been a couple of times where the person I'm supposed to be working with is called in sick or went home sick, and I've worked by myself, which is another issue of, okay, how do we get the bathrooms cleaned? How do we get the floors cleaned? How do we do this? How do we do this? How, somebody get in the cooler? How do we take care of all that stuff when you only got one person and they're at the register constantly because there's a steady stream of customers? So that stuff doesn't get done. And then, of course, somebody's got to make up for what didn't get done. So that messes up the other people because now they got to cover whatever work you were supposed to do besides waiting on customers that didn't get done. And I mean, I try if I end up by myself, I try. I try to get out there and get the floor swept and mopped, whatever. But it is really hard to do. And sometimes impossible. One place I worked at, the restrooms were located outside of the main area, so you had to go outside to get to them. And you're not going to leave the store at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to go clean the bathrooms, because you got like 8 people at pumps and 2 people inside the store. You're not going out there to clean those bathrooms. They're not going to get done. Now, fortunately, most of the time, the others will understand. Oh, you were here by yourself. Understand. It was busy. Oh, you did $8,000 in business. Hey, you were kind of busy. But anyway, as I was saying, it is difficult. So that's one of the big issues with working this kind of job. It does mess up when one person doesn't come in or calls in, whatever. Now, another issue with these kind of jobs is that you're expected to be extremely honest with what you're doing. You're expected to handle hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars in cash and credit. And you don't get paid a whole lot by most of these places. And I see I'm running a little short on time, so I'm not going to get into this till the next video. So I'll probably make a part 2 and continue on with my story.